Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Toyin Adesola. I'm the Executive Director of Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative, also known as the Resilient Boss. I am a wellness coach and social impact coach, author, artist, and sickle cell advocate. Well, definitely there's a lot of devastating effect of sickle cell in anyone living with sickle cell and their families. There's not much to be said than what has been said. It's traumatic. Sometimes it's financial stress is a lot. It's capital intensive. You see families that have challenges trying to manage their child with sickle cell. So it's something that needs to be talked about. We keep saying that Nigeria has the highest burden of sickle cell in the world, but the reality is that Nigeria itself, does it recognize that it has that high burden compared to other non-communicable disease? How much effort is being put into sickle cell, especially in the areas where people don't even know about sickle cell, the rural areas up north, and in areas that people still believe in the superstition of sickle cell. So definitely there's a lot of challenges with sickle cell, especially in Nigeria, though it's not restricted to Nigeria, but with our population, of course, it's a lot.
What can you recommend as solution towards alleviating such pains or experience they live with?
Well, there's a lot to be done. There's a bill that supposedly passed by the Senate. It's going into the third tier of the government, that's the House of Representatives, to be able to look further. But the reality is that we still don't have the proper management policy that is executed in all areas of Nigeria. So it's very important that we do that. First of all, let there be proper policy that is executed, and the people with sickle cell can be managed better when there are policies that health centers, medical personnel, families understand how to manage sickle cell, because the bottom line is management. If they can't manage it, then there will be greater challenges living with sickle cell. So it's very important that we have policies and health centers and health facilities that understand how to manage sickle cell. And of course, informing the parents of the management procedure of sickle cell. And if possible, having health insurance that can help these families live better, because let's face it, sickle cell is capital intensive, as I said before. And a lot of these families, especially from very, very low income families, they can have up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children with sickle cell. And it's something that they can afford. So their priority will be look after those who are already, how will I call it, quote unquote, healthy, rather than their own children. So it's very important that their health policies and health insurance to be able to manage this situation. And of course, more education and more doctors. Yeah.
What can you say of efforts by Good Foundation as an NGO trying to encourage those living with the disease?
Well, I'm always welcoming any NGO that is aimed at helping the issue of sickle cell. One thing I believe is that if you're going to face reality, when people say about eradication is not possible. I always use this balance that if you cannot eradicate malaria, you cannot eradicate sickle cell. Because the two, through history, have something in common. But you can reduce. And the more people coming in to talk about it, and not just about reduction in sickle cell, we need to talk about issues that are more broader than that. We need to talk about mental health. We need to talk about sickle cell welfare. We need to talk about sickle cell people's rights, discrimination. There's so many areas, pain management. So if anybody is coming in, I always recommend find one thing that would help the person with sickle cell, not just control, but there are millions of people already living with sickle cell. What do we do about that? And that's why one of the reasons I had some misgiving with the bill, because it focused mostly on control and prevention and left people already living with sickle cell without any form of succor. So it's very important that we do not just look at one part of the area of sickle cell. There's opportunities to talk about research. How is government funding towards research? How is government funding towards non-communicable disease so that they can even fund sickle cell issues? So it's very important that we understand the grassroots challenges of sickle cell when we're coming into this space and be able to identify issues that we can talk about more and not just target one area. Yeah.
What way do you think government and international organizations should support patients and their loved ones to alleviate the pain?
Well, for international organizations, I think first of all, they need to understand the challenges and the trauma of sickle cell itself, because a lot of people don't understand. When we complain about doctors not taking care of us here, not understanding our issues, it's also there in UK, in Europe, in US. We see warriors complain all over the world because it's something that has not been quite understood. So I think first they need to understand, then they need to provide funding, like they provide funding for other issues, HIV. I know because they feel it's only one particular type of people that have sickle cell, but it's no more a black man's disorder or disease. It's all over, from Arabs to Europeans to Asians. There are all sorts of people that have different types of sickle cell. So it's very important that when they look at sickle cell, they look at it holistically and fund and support NGOs who are doing this grassroots awareness, grassroots support for people with sickle cell. But they need to understand the challenges faced, and that is very important. Research is one area that I want international funders to focus on, because our communities, our government here in Nigeria, and even most African countries, really, talking to other people in the African region, don't fund when it comes to research and such issues. So I think it's very important that we look at how we can improve issues with sickle cell.
Please tell us more on what people should always do to avoid the experience of sickle cell in their life.
Well, the most important thing is know your genotype. And I know there's a confusion about genotype, blood group. Even I was watching one video the other day and they were asking this box spot on the road, what is sickle cell? And the person was saying sickle cell was a disease of the hormones. And I laughed. There are a lot of ignorance concerning sickle cell. They don't really understand it. And we need to break down this information to them in the basic way, not just shout, know your genotype, but explain why it is important to know your genotype and the ways that you can know your genotype. Because definitely, like here in Nigeria, we have situations where you get false information on your genotype. So they need to know the type of genotype they should go and to do it more than once, to make sure that it's accurate, because we see situations where people get 3 different information. So it's very important that they get the right information from the right source. They may feel that, oh, it's expensive, but imagine if you get married and then you have a child with sickle cell, the money that you may end up spending is 100 or 1,000 times more than just that one amount that you used to spend to do the right type of genotype. So know your genotype, get involved, seek counseling, genetic counseling when you want to make a decision on relationship, and that's it.
What are ways do you think that the society should try to encourage people with this disease?
I think the first thing is to provide the adequate empathy and support, because as I said, there's a lot of misinformation about sickle cell. And there's that typical belief that people with sickle cell cannot do A or B, or they are lazy, or they present that they have pain and all that stuff. But I think what I would encourage people, society, is to be more empathetic to people with sickle cell. Have a listening ear and learn about it, so that if you have a friend or you see someone with sickle cell, you know how to support that person, whether through their health routines or just having a listening ear of encouragement and all that. And then also advocate for people. When you see somebody with sickle cell being unjustly treated, let's open our mouths and voice it against such discrimination. Well, thank you for having me.